Hi! Okay, so I did my final hour alone and I decided to do it in Paris, France. I didn't originally intend on doing it in Paris because we were only there for 2.5 days. We got there Saturday and we were there for all day Sunday and then till 5 p.m. on Monday. David warned me because of my type of personality. Apparently I was going to fall in love with Paris. I was like, okay, whatever. But he was completely right. We got there, and by the second day, I completely understood the whole metro station and was in love with everything I was doing. So Monday was our final day there, and I got up in the morning, and I kind of wasn't sure what I wanted to do. We spent the last 2 days being kind of touristy, and I really liked that stuff, but I really love the city also. So I decided kind of at the moment that I was going to do my hour-alone 3 and go down to Paris by myself. However, it was really hard for me to think of something that would make me super uncomfortable, and this was because I guess just as the trip goes on, I feel like there's less and less things that completely put me out of my comfort zone, even in foreign countries. So one of our classmates, Elizabeth, had suggested to me to try to do something challenging for myself instead. So everybody jokes around because I'm really active and I'm always tapping my foot and I can't hold still and I always want to go, go, go. And the culture in Europe is completely different, and especially in Paris, people will sit and by themselves or in a group of people for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and literally just sit there and enjoy the day. And that's really hard for me to do because I always want to get stuff done and keep moving on and making progress. So I decided for my hour alone I was going to force myself to go get a cup of coffee by myself and sit there and not play on my phone, not listen to music, not try and plan out my day, not do anything but sit there and enjoy the French lifestyle. And I knew it was going to be really hard for me, and though it wasn't really a huge risk, it still put me out of my comfort zone in a sense because I didn't know how I was going to pass the time. So I got on the metro and I started my hour when I got off the train because it wasn't uncomfortable for me at all to figure out the tram system. I went to Bastille, which was a place we had gone before, and I looked around for a coffee shop. And the first cafe I saw just didn't seem that interesting, so I walked over to the second one, and it was right by the metro, the stairs leading underground. And there's actually this group of males. There's 3 of them, and they had dreadlocks down past their knees. They were very dark-skinned, and they were crowded on the corner. It was 10:30 in the morning, and they were all passing around a bottle. And at first I thought it was just pop or something because it looked like a soda bottle, but then I realized they were drinking, and I'm not sure if it was alcohol or some kind of, I don't know what, but it definitely wasn't pop. And so that kind of interested me because they were also really well dressed, like really nice clothes and hats, and it just all wasn't making any sense to me. They also had instruments and a bike, and my final global competency was embracing others' cultures or opinions that are different than mine in a sense. And so since I had no idea anything about this culture, I don't know if they were French or from somewhere else, I decided to pick the cafe that was right by them and to people watch because in France and a lot of European places, all the coffee tables are turned out towards the street so you can people watch because that's like a hobby. So I sat down at 10:34 and I was like, I have to sit here for an hour and I can't get up, I can't try and plan things out. I literally need to just spend an hour being French. And so the waiter came by, and in France it's a little different to order things because they don't know English as well as they do in the Netherlands. So I ordered a black coffee, and he says, okay. And he comes back with a shot of espresso, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to make this shot of espresso last for an hour. So I was like, okay, this will be interesting. I don't know how long I can make it last. And then I was worried that he was going to kick me out because I picked like a spot on the busy road. So I started kind of getting nervous, like I was going to finish my coffee in 10 minutes, and what am I going to do for another 50? But I sat there and I was watching this little group of men, and they literally were just passing around their bottle of whatever they were drinking and laughing and talking and just not talking to anybody passing by, just amongst themselves. They literally looked like they were having a great time. 10:30 in the morning. There were a couple people around me kind of just doing their own thing. Some people had a newspaper, some people were talking with other people, some people were doing the same thing as I was. But there was a lot of people walking by. And the first day I was in Paris, I actually was walking by a little dinner place, and there was the cutest little old lady ever. She had to be in her 80s, like she was a tiny little old lady. And when I walked by her, she just gave me this smile that was so inspiring. I don't know how to even describe it. It was the most genuine thing I had seen in a long time, and it literally just made my night. And so all the people that were walking by me actually were kind of staring at me, which was weird because I was staring at them, they were staring back, but we weren't making any sort of communication. So then I made it my goal that anybody I made eye contact with, I was going to try and give them a big genuine smile as a way, to pass the time, because here I am with my little shot of espresso trying to last for an hour. So at first it was kind of awkward. Because some people, maybe I was smiling awkwardly. I was like, do I look like a creep? Like, I feel weird. But then I kind of was able to gauge it better, and I actually started getting some really friendly responses, and I don't know, that kind of made my day, and that definitely helped pass the time. All along, though, I was kind of taking mental notes on the fashion and all the different languages I heard. I heard English, I heard French, I heard a bunch of languages. I had no idea what they were. Watching people run up and down the subway, that was cool. And I continued to pay attention to this culture that obviously had a different lifestyle than I did. I mean, I don't hang out by the metro at 11 in the morning with all my friends. So I was curious what the guys were actually doing. And some would come and leave, but one guy always stayed guard and watched the instruments and the bike. And then there were a couple other guys that stopped by. They were all really tall, but that's just kind of how it is in Europe. But besides that, I couldn't see anything that they had in common. One guy was dressed in white sweatpants or jogging pants, and he was white. And he came by and they gave him a high five and hung out and drank out of the bottle with them for a while and left. There was another guy who looked completely different too that came and hung out, and they were just coming and going and smiling, but they weren't talking to random strangers passing by or trying to perform or sell something or convince people something like I thought they were originally. It was literally like they were just hanging out, and they were still there when I had left, so that was really interesting. I guess the first half hour went by pretty fast. I had checked my phone just to see what time I was at, and it was 20-something minutes had gone by. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I still had half my espresso shot. I was sipping on it. And I was like, okay, this seems fine. But the last 20 minutes were kind of hard because I finished my coffee. I had put my money down, and the waiter, he was really nice and didn't ask me to leave or anything, but he had moved my table farther out in the street so more people could sit around me. And as soon as I set the money down, he swiped it away, which was a little different than what I'm used to. But so I didn't feel pressured to leave, but at the same time, it was out of my comfort zone because I'm not used to sitting around after I've finished my meal or my drink and paid. So that was a little awkward. And then with about 20 minutes left, I really needed to use the restroom too. So I was like, oh my God, I can't keep sitting here, I have to go. But I made myself wait until the last 5 minutes, and then I made it part of my hour to go and find the restroom and use it, because sometimes in Europe you have to pay for it, and you didn't at this one. And I guess overall, I was just really proud of myself to be able to sit there for an hour and to embrace the French culture. It was hard for me not to plan out the rest of my day because I was going to spend it alone out in the town shopping and stuff. But I've become a lot calmer during this trip, and I don't know if you can tell, but I think I've been able to improve my verbalization skills as well, and definitely open-minded to other cultures. You know, just originally when I saw those guys, before I would have been like, oh, they're going to perform or whatever, but this time I just sat and genuinely watched them and just realized that it's just a different culture than mine, and I really enjoyed this experience. It was a big challenge for me instead of a huge risk. So I really like that, and I mean, it might not sound like it, but I feel like I learned a lot about myself and my capabilities through this hour alone. And so that's how I wanted to wrap up my last hour, and I guess I will talk to you for the last video.